So, hello and welcome. Wait, I think this was this one. Yeah, hello and welcome. It's me, Videospiel-Man. So, today we're talking about why the Kirby Anime sucks. That makes me cry. I hope I made it right. Anyways, so, yeah, you might say, but what? The Kirby Anime I heard from so many people, it's great. And, I mean, no, I think it isn't. So yeah, yeah. To talk about why I think the Kirby anime is so bad, let's talk about the past of Nintendo shows for a short while. So, first off, we all know there is one specific Nintendo show that everyone agrees is terrible. The Zelda show. Specifically, the main reason why the Zelda shows agreed to be terrible is because, well, they mischaracterized the main character Link in Zelda. Like, Link is supposed to be the courageous hero, even in the NES days. And if you don't get at least that fact right, your show is straight up bad. Does this mean, however, that Link, for example, shouldn't talk? Not really. The manga, for example, shows Link to be pretty fine when he talks, actually. I mean, his characterization is pretty decent. I mean, then there are stuff like the fucking apples, but, you know, he's decent, he's fine. The manga is fine. Then we have a show that a lot more people seem to agree is good, but I personally still don't like it. But I do still see some criticism against that show. And that is the Pokemon anime. The Pokemon anime is definitely much more professional, but it's not good. It really, really isn't. The Pokemon anime is much more professional. Produced by much more in association with Nintendo, featuring much more designs from the games. But is it a good adaptation of the games? No, it isn't. The Pokemon anime doesn't feature, for example, a lot of plot points from the games, like how exactly the evil teams are defeated and at which points. The main character doesn't feel as cool as the main protagonist of the Pokemon games, even though they don't talk a single time. I mean, yeah, sure, Ash is at least nice, unlike Link. But being nice is not really unique in any way for a Pokemon character. I mean, everyone is nice, right? So yeah, and this anime just genuinely made me really rage at Ash, because he's just not a good character. He's really boring. He's just nice, and not only just that, the anime is also stretched out. Basically, every plot revolves around two filler characters, that being Jesse and James, and basically they show up in every episode to cause trouble. They're just not good design. Instead, Ash should probably fight some new Pokemon every episode and catch it, perhaps, to add it to his collection. And he should only be like one episode per route, one episode or two perhaps per city, not three whole seasons for one single region. Every region should have just been one fudged season, not three, you know? Anyways, the Pokemon anime is at least agreed at least some people agree with me that the Pokemon anime is bad. However, this anime basically everyone loves, which I don't get. I mean, the Kirby anime seems like basically on first glance it seems pretty decent, at least. I mean, it definitely seems to be on the same level as Pokemon, which to be certain I think it is. It has a lot of episodes, it has a cool fight against Nightmare at the end, and I don't see the appeal. It's really not an accurate show at all. And first off, let's talk about the name. A lot of people say the anime in Japanese is called Hoshi no Kabi, but that is just completely wrong. I mean, yes, it's right, but it's also wrong. Hoshi no Kabi is the name of the Kirby franchise in general. The Kirby franchise is called Kirby from the Stars in Japanese. That's what the very first game, Dreamland, is called, as far as I know. So the anime should just be called Kirby Anime for all intents and purposes, if you want to be accurate. And no, I'm not calling it Kirby Right Back At Ya, because it's neither called Kirby Right Back At Ya in Japanese nor German, so why should I use the objectively worst name, you know? I just used this picture because I didn't found any better one. But, like, there's a lot of stuff to talk about, and for the rest of this video, it will be about Kirby. First off, let's talk about these two. Tiff and Tuff. I hate them. Why would you decide to include them if you already have two completely fine characters? Like, if you don't want to have Kirby be the main talking character, where's Gooey and Adeline? They basically perfectly fit the role. Little goofy kid guy. Gooey. More serious, more smart girl character, Adeline. At least they're from the games, you know? If you want to make characters that important, they better be at least from the games, you know? And also, I'm probably the only one that thinks, or one of the only people that doesn't like Kirby's characterization in the show one bit. I mean, he's supposed to be a kid, right? I mean, in the games, it definitely seems to be that he lives alone, he fights alone, he basically does so many things alone. I'm not saying Kirby's an adult, because he still acts incredibly childish, but like, he should at least be like 6, right? Character as a 6 in the anime, not as a god. I really have to find a good word. A damn baby. Yeah, right. Like, Kirby is just really competent in the games. And I mean, yes, he's cute, he sleeps a lot, and that's, I don't want to take this away from him, that is a part of his character. But Kirby shouldn't rely on some other characters who give him his strength. Especially if this character is not even from the games. And not only that, there are so many other characters from the games that aren't there. Where the heck is Marx and where the heck is Dark Matter? Where are they? I mean, they're basically the most important, some of the most important villains up to that point. Especially Dark Matter, appearing in 3 games. And, like, how do you make a Kirby anime and only feature one main villain, right? Kirby needs some plot progression and just sort of part of the entire franchise. And DDD being evil for 100 episodes makes no sense. Why do you have to do my boy DDD dirty like that, right? And, I mean, yeah, they for sure used a lot of characters from the games, but they also gave them completely different roles. For example, Blade Knight and Sword Knight. Why are they the Meta Knight's minions? I mean, later on they definitely became those, but this was after the anime. And I mean, yeah, some concepts of the anime are decently well, and appear in some actual important mainline games, not really this castle. This castle and the enemy transporter only appeared in Squeak Squad, a not so great game. But for example, the fact that DDD has waddle-dees is generally a decent concept. I give them that. For example, DDD uses waddle-dees as like his main minions after this anime, which makes sense. They're the most iconic enemy, they have like a lot of personality in the games. It was definitely a good choice. Same with Waddle-Doo, making Waddle-Doo like in general. At the time, good choice. Obviously not nowadays. Nowadays it should definitely have been Waddle-Dee, but back then he didn't really exist in that form. And I mean, I get it. And I also think that Waddle-Doo in general, I do think Waddle-Doo is also an issue. Where's his beam ability? Like, why does he use a sword? That doesn't make any sense. Like, he should have just used the whip if you don't want to give him some magic powers, because the beam attack is literally called Beam Whip. Anyways. So yeah, this anime is really not that good. I mean, we also have these guys here, the parents of Tiff and Tuff, like, okay, fine, they're also not from the games. We have Lolo and Lalala, who also have a completely made up backstory, where they're like the same person or whatever, I don't know. That was split apart by a non-canon villain. Ah! Chef Kawasaki, on the other hand, is a pretty decent character. I don't have too much issues with him. Him being a bad cook is not really accurate with his modern day portrayal, not really his portrayal in the games. But it's at least sorta accurate. Meta Knight, other than the voice, I guess is a decent character. I mean, he should have definitely had more fights in the show, and I don't really like his, like, being, like, wrapped up all the time. I mean, he for sure is wrapped up in the games a couple of times, but the biggest issue with Meta Knight is probably that we didn't get us to see his mask break, which is like the most iconic part, one of the most iconic parts of his character, and would have been perfect for some jokes or just, I mean, imagine, if you want to have like a filler episode, have a filler episode in which the Meta Knight has to babysit some children, like children that are in Kirby or so, and have him be like, no, I'm not cute or whatever. That would be a fun idea, right? But yeah, in general, this anime is not that great. I can probably talk even further about some stuff I don't like. To be fair, I didn't see the entire anime. Oh, shocker, shock. I just saw like the first 20 episodes or so. But I already can see that this anime is really not for me. If you like some cute little kid show, I guess it's completely fine. But if you want a really adaptation of the Kirby series, it's not great at all, even at the time. Like, so many plot points were changed, so many new concepts were invented, so many characters were switched around. The main character isn't even, like, the most important character for a majority of the episodes, other than the fights. It just is an idea. In general, I don't hope for a reboot of Right Back At. I mean, we sort of got one on the 3DS, like a new episode. Instead, I hope for a completely fresh take on the Kirby series, if we ever get a new Kirby anime. Give us like Banana Will D and Adeline and Gooey as Kirby's friends. Have DDD be the main villain for like 30 episodes, and then swap over to Dark Matter, and then Dark Matter possesses some villain, some monsters, and Kirby has to fight them. And afterwards they travel to space and fight monsters in space. Afterwards they travel back, and maybe later on Haltman invades, and Kirby has to fight robot enemies. You can still have some filler in those cases, but first off, moderation. Second off, it should make sense for the Kirby series, and third off, just have some plot progression, please. I'm begging you. Obviously, my actual dream would be to straight up Kirby in like serialized form. That would be the best, because Kirby just straight up has a lot of serialized anime and elements in the games. But I would be completely fine with a episodic show as long as it actually, you know, has much better episodic plot lines, uses the game characters much more, doesn't really have a lot of invented characters, and you know, the characters feel like they do in the games. So anyways, bye bye. I hope this was good enough for you.